Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Festival of Startups. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning. Um, Today, we're going to be talking about everything marketing, and we've got a really special session that we've thrown in today, which is a bit of a curveball in comparison to some of the other content, but something I think a lot of people have been messaging me about this session today, and it's all about how to sell on Amazon. So if you're looking at setting up a new business and you're thinking about ways you can start your business, different channels and avenues of selling products and service, well, mainly products, then today's session is all about how to get started and selling on Amazon. So I'm going to hand over to two power sellers, as I like to call them, two experts in selling on Amazon. We've got Zamir and Ali. So I'm going to hand over to these guys. If you've got any questions, please do get involved in the chat. Do send them across, put them in the chat box or ask them in the questions box. And also, as we say every day, if you know someone who's looking to start a business or is interested in any of the sessions we've got going, please do share the link that I've put up in the chat box with everyone and get people watching, because we've got some fantastic stuff happening. A lot of these sessions will be available afterwards. However, the information is here and now, so get hold of it. Thank you. Over to you, Zamir.
Hi everyone, my name is Samir, and I'm here presenting with, so I'm an Amazon seller, just put that in place. I run a business called Untitled, and I'm here with Al, who runs a business. Al, do you want to tell them about yours?
Yeah, hey guys, I run a company called Coconut Merchant. We have the world's largest range of coconut products, and just to give a little bit of context about the company, we started off 6 years ago by selling on Amazon, and we grew the company to now we do about £7 million a year, and we sell to all the major supermarkets. So Tesco has the Sainsbury's, Ocado, but we started off selling on Amazon, and we leveraged our growth there and our number one ranking to get retail listings throughout other distribution channels. So we used Amazon to grow, and in doing that, I met Zamir. So handing over to Zamir now.
Yeah, sure. So I started Untitled about 8 years ago, at the back end of 2012, and I knew I wanted to start a business. I knew what I wanted to sell, consumer electronics. So I knew where they came from. That was pretty much about it. My background's digital marketing, but not product development. I jumped on a plane to China and went looking for a manufacturer to source my first two products from. And that's pretty much how I started my journey. Then fast forward from 2013 to 2015, in the first 3 years, we hit our first million turnover. That's solely and completely on Amazon. So when those first products arrived from China, I literally had to get those sold as soon as possible. All my first initial start of the business started on a credit card. So I had best part of 50 days in which to turn around that stock. I use Amazon FBA, so they handle all the fulfillment, and I just manage the brand and handle the customer service and that side of it. From 2016, we then went onto the Cedars platform, and we did an equity crowdfunding raise, raised 170% of our target, and then used that to grow the company further. Using Amazon, we went into international marketplaces, started in Europe, US, India, and we also started another brand called Luxaloo London, and that's non-electronic items. And while doing all of that kind of growth and success got noticed by Amazon, and so I got asked to do a whole load of PR stuff from time to time for them, and that's how I met Al. Al was equally doing PR stuff, so we were both doing PR presentations for Amazon, and that's how we met, and our offices are really close to each other, within a mile of each other, and we became really good friends, and we've kind of like grown our businesses alongside each other over the last 5 years, and our friendship's grown from there as well. Right? Al.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that's kind of like us and our background. Just to get started on this, so what we're here to do is hopefully give you an indication, an idea. If you are an Amazon seller or you're just looking to start out, whichever it is, hopefully we've got some useful information for you. I think the first question really is why Amazon? Before we go on to the how, what's the why? So in 2019, Amazon dominated Google. completely with product search. So this is specifically looking at product search, right? So if you think about it, when you're looking for a product, generally there are two ways digitally you can find that online. One is to go to Google, and the other is Amazon. So we very much look at Amazon as a search engine, and 63% of product search in Europe, in the UK, France, and Germany was conducted on Amazon in 2019. And that's significantly up from 2015, where it was only 46%. So you can see the direction that this is going in. I think that very much is sort of like the why Amazon, why you should be considerate there. So one thing being on having your own website and selling through that, there's a completely separate audience that sits on Amazon. A lot of people worry about the kind of like the crossover and whether I'm going to cannibalize my existing sales. And the answer is pretty much no. Those two audiences are very distinct, and they like to stay apart. They have a particular way of shopping, but people do cross over that. And in 2018, Kenshu ran a survey, and they were looking and asking, right, okay, so how many people only search and buy on Amazon? The answer to that was 22%. So actually, that was in 2018. That has, I imagine, grown since then. But by not being on Amazon, you completely miss this 22% of the market. The other thing that's really interesting from that survey was that 72% use Amazon for product ideas. So at some point in their journey, they're going to Amazon. And a lot of them are looking at reviews. And that's really crucial to understand, because what it means is that you need that presence, and how your product appears and what the reviews are on Amazon is really important, even if you do have your website. They may buy from your website, but at some point in that journey, they will look at yours and competitor items and compare them on Amazon, which is crucial to understand. Al, you're muted.
I'm on mute. Welcome to 2020.
Yeah.
So, as you all know, so this year when COVID hit, a lot of sales and a lot of retail purchasing shifted from offline to online, and so these stats kind of here just show visually what that entailed, especially in the first few months of COVID. So even by July, even though there was a large surge, it didn't drop all the way back down to where it was. And so if you want to jump to the next slide, yeah. So what we can kind of see here is often there's this famous Lenin quote where it's basically, you get decades where nothing happens, and then a whole lot of stuff happens in just several weeks. And this is the exact case here. So every year, e-commerce as a share of retail sales, it increased by 1%. And then with COVID, it's spiked and surged up high. But the key takeaway from this slide is that even though there was a surge, and we all appreciate there was a surge at the beginning, it didn't drop all the way back down to where it was. The base was actually higher than where things were at the beginning. So it settled much higher. And I think that's one of the really important takeaway from all of this, is that it's accelerated the growth towards e-commerce as a route to market. So I think if you guys are looking to sell, and if you're looking for a way to kind of get your products to market, you need to have some kind of e-commerce, and if Amazon is a major part of that, some kind of Amazon strategy, even if it's to drive people from Amazon to your website, you should have something in place for that. So some information on Amazon, because we appreciate when you're starting out, it can be a bit of a labyrinth and a bit of a beast to try and get your head around. So the next two slides basically just talk about two key things. The first one is the structure of selling on Amazon. The next one is the fees associated with each one. So if you imagine Amazon is actually there's lots of businesses, but on the e-commerce side, there's two key businesses. There's Amazon Retail, which is that far right column, and then there's Amazon Marketplace, which is the three columns on the left. Retail is the easiest one to explain, so I'll go through that very quickly, but essentially what it involves is you make a contract with Amazon, you agree a price, they send you orders, and you fulfill it to them, you send it to them, and then they sell the product for you. That's Amazon Retail. It's just like working with a major supermarket. And then you've got Amazon Marketplace. So for Amazon Marketplace, it's kind of like walking up to a Tesco shelf, pushing all their stuff aside, putting your products in there and also selling, because you're essentially using their platform to sell. And each one, you need to list the product. So even if you sell on Amazon Retail, they will ask you to list the product because you know all the information for it. So they'll give you a new line form just as much as you would do it manually if you're doing it yourself. Now, there's ways of reducing the burden for you. As Amir mentioned, you can have Amazon do the fulfillment for you. So that's referred to often as FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. And so there are ways of doing that. The one that we recommend is that second to the right column where it's FBA based, because that way the orders come in and Amazon fulfills it for you. You have far less headache, and they deal with a lot of the costs and hassles associated with that. And it generally comes out cheaper than doing it yourself. The Prime badge is something that's really important. To have that Prime badge is going to be fundamental, because people filter out brands and products that don't have Prime. And it's that delivery promise and that sense of trust by having the Prime badge. So it's important to keep in mind which of these methods keeps the Prime badge. And the only one that really doesn't is when you fulfill it yourself. Payment terms. The good thing about Amazon Marketplace is that there's 14-day payment terms. So every 2 weeks you'll get a payment from Amazon. That's fundamental if you are trying to fund your business. Whereas with Amazon Retail, it's 60 days. And then finally, there's an element of customer service, which I'm sure you'll be aware of and probably concerned about. But it's much easier if there's an FBA element to it, because Amazon takes care of all the customer service questions related to parcels and missing parcels or anything damaged. And all you need to manage are questions relating to the product itself. And that can work, lighten the load when you are also running a business that does other things beyond just selling on Amazon. And if you have any questions about these three methods, just shoot us a message in the Q&A parts of here, and we'll go to them. I'm happy to go into more detail about each of these. And you're probably wondering about the fees, which is a very, very fair kind of question. So in terms of Amazon Retail, you negotiate everything from the margin to the commissions, fulfillment fees. It's all negotiated, so you kind of have to really have some good negotiation skills. Whereas on the marketplace side, everything's a lot more objective. So there's around 15% commission. Some categories, when you sell a product below £10, it's actually 8%. So there's a reduction in some categories, particularly grocery. And I think maybe there's other ones I don't want to kind of mislead you there, but there will be other categories where it's 8% when it's below £10. There's a fulfillment fee if Amazon is doing your fulfillment for you. That one is it's usually much cheaper than if you were doing it yourself, but their price includes pick, pack, and post. And just as a rough rule of thumb, if your product is about 1 to 2 kilos, the price is going to be around £2.30 ballpark. There's a rate card online on their website, and you can go and grab it. Or if you want if you just send us your product details, and we can give you some indication of what it will cost. Amazon will charge you a storage fee if you're using their fulfillment centers, but admittedly, it's actually not that much. They charge you per square foot per month, and it comes out to be so marginal that you can almost ignore it, but it's worth being aware of it. Now, no matter which method of Amazon selling you use, you're going to need to pay for some marketing. And that's just so that you can skip the queue and get to the front of the line and catch customers in areas where your product doesn't necessarily rank organically. And if you remember, Amazon, well, you may see on Amazon when you do a search, everything's ranked by different rates of sale, essentially. And you can skip that queue by advertising and get to the front, because when you just start out, you need to find a way of getting to the front of that rate of sale queue, and this will help you do that. And then finally, if you're on Amazon Marketplace, if you have a professional account, you need to pay £30 a month just for the subscription. And that's a very, very high level look at the fees. But if you want more help with this, just shoot us a message, and I'm more than happy to talk you through it.
So, as I was pointed out there are two sides to the Amazon's business. There's the retail side, and then there's the marketplace. So, Amazon retail is very much them selling directly to customers and obviously buying wholesale. Amazon marketplace is where smaller businesses, small and large businesses, can go in and essentially compete against Amazon and all the other marketplace sellers in this market. And Amazon gives this over, and they've been moving more and more away from retail and towards marketplace over the years. And I believe their intention, it kind of makes sense, because if you think of it as a marketplace seller, you kind of cash flow that product. Also, on retail side, you've got a buyer there that's probably responsible for between 5 and 10,000 SKUs. So for a marketplace seller, chances are you've got much fewer SKUs and you care about them deeply. They're your products. So there's a good chance you'll spend a lot more time, take a lot more time, spend a lot more attention on your products. And I know there's always a little bit of thing is like Amazon's going to kind of like, they're going to see what I'm selling and everything, and they're going to compete with me. The fact is, you can compete with Amazon, and Amazon's quite happy for you to compete with them. They've created this ecosystem, and you can absolutely compete. I know I go up against Amazon on a number of categories, and we take them. We take them on those, no problem. Not going to say no problem at all, but it is perfectly achievable. So something I would definitely consider. I much prefer marketplace and retail. I'll put that out because it gives you a lot more control over your product, your merchandising, your promotions, and also essentially customer communications and interactions. And I believe totally that I can actually do that better than Amazon does. So that's how I make marketplace work for my business. I just want to touch on the fulfillment options because I think this is critical. So we refer to this as delivery promise. So it is logistics. There are 3 options on marketplace. There's merchant fulfilled. That's where you're just fulfilling yourself using raw mail or whatever packing and selling service you want to use. If you're already selling online, it's really easy to integrate that in because software brings all of your Amazon orders alongside your website orders and all the other channels you've got, and you can just send those orders out. However, you don't get a Prime badge with that. And the Prime badge significantly increases how many conversions you get. And that's really important. So if you are fulfilling orders yourself already and you've got your own center set up and your own pickers and packers, I would definitely recommend, rather than looking at merchant fulfilled, look at seller fulfilled Prime. That's where Amazon gives you the Prime badge. The key thing here, the caveat, is you have to use one of their specified services. And at the moment it's raw mail and DPD, and with raw mail it's the 24 and 48 hour track service that you have to use. So, but by agreeing to that and using that, you get the Prime badge, which is crucial. And you will see easily a 200% increase in sales between merchant fulfilled and seller fulfilled Prime. However, where you really want to be at, I think, is fulfilled by Amazon. That's where you send stock into Amazon's fulfillment center, in whether it's in cartons or pallets or truckloads or container loads even. You send that through, and then they pick and pack and post those items on your behalf. Firstly, they do a pick, pack, post, next day tracked, and sometimes same day tracked, far cheaper than any other postal service around. And secondly, they take full responsibility over that as well. But most fundamentally is the fact that you see a significant increase in sales by using this service. And that's because of that delivery promise. So with a merchant fulfilled item, you're very much dependent on the carrier for that in terms of fulfillment promise, whatever service you're offering. So it may be sort of like 3 to 5 days. Seller fulfilled Prime, Amazon will classify that as a 2 to 3 day delivery service. FBA will be next day, potentially same day, depending on the time the order's placed and where it's from. Expectations of clients are increasing, and they expect those items to be delivered sooner than ever. And so what you're able to do is you're able to leverage Amazon's unarguably world-class logistics service to get your products into the hands of the customers as soon as possible. You don't have to take that responsibility. They do. You can just focus on your brand, your communications, and running your business, not running a fulfillment center. So delivery promise with FBA, really, really crucial. The same thing is also available on a European sale. And this changes at the end of this year with Brexit. But essentially what's happened up until now, there's been 2 networks. Two systems. One's called European Fulfillment Network, EFM, and the other one's the Pan-European Fulfillment by Amazon. That's Pan-EU. EFN means that your goods are stored in the UK and Amazon will deliver it anywhere within their European market, pretty much within a 2 to 3 day service. You don't have to handle that. They handle it all. You get charged an EFN delivery rate. But if you go for the pan EU, then what happens is those goods aren't stored in the UK. They actually get transferred and stored all across Europe. And that way they're closer to the customer, and that way your products are available for same day or next day delivery across the whole of Europe. And that significantly increases your competitiveness and therefore your conversion rate across Europe. And generally we will see between EFN and pan EU at least a 200% increase in sales. Now, the one caveat on this is to go for pan EU, you need to have a at least one European VAT number. And preferably you'd register for VAT in each of the countries in Europe, or each of the 4 marketplaces, France, Italy, Spain, and Germany. Now, remember that Germany is probably about 10 to 15% larger as a market in terms of Amazon than the UK. So it's a really significant market. France, Italy, and Spain are probably combined a similar size as well. So it's a huge opportunity. From the 1st of January, UK is no longer part of the pan EU or EFM, so it actually sits outside of it. And so what you would have to do is you have to ship stock into Europe in order to take advantage of these. And to do that, you have to have a European VAT number and a European ERI number, and you'd also have to comply with the new labeling requirements. Luckily, Amazon is helping with all of those. They've got a program where they'll actually pay for your registration and filings for European VAT numbers for the first 12 months. So it's not unachievable or unassailable. It's definitely something you can look at doing. I would always say get your UK market working first, and then when you're looking for growth, then look to Europe. It's definitely a huge potential.
Alrighty, so there's a thing called Amazon Brand Registry. So I think one thing we want to kind of flag up that is important to get, and people don't always know about it. When you finally have your products up, what you want to do is get brand registry, and what this enables you to do is to protect how your brand is presented on Amazon, in case someone else starts selling your product for you. And essentially, you will set up the listings and the images for your products, and then you will be able to control everything and how it's presented. So if someone starts selling your product with an image that isn't quite right or doesn't look the way you want it to look, you'll be able to protect your brand that way. And that's the general thrust of Amazon Brand Registry.
So I'm going to look at how you leverage Amazon Marketplace for your brand. This is obviously assuming that you're selling your own brand. If you're selling someone else's, then you're obviously leveraging theirs. There's a couple of things you have to think of first, and I think it really goes to the understanding of Amazon and what they are. They are a technology company before they are a retailer. Everything they do is based around technology. They've scaled the way they have based off of technology. And it's really important to understand that, because they allow those tools that they use internally, they allow a lot of their sellers to kind of plug into those. And so there's a huge opportunity for a small business to actually scale very rapidly by plugging into Amazon. And so don't just look at it as a retail marketplace. Look at it as a technology company, and look at the options that you can plug into. Key to understanding also, it's the 3rd largest advertising platform in the world. And that's for a very good reason. They have a huge captive audience of people and it's growing all the time. So you are plugging into a machine that allows you to scale and also has an audience ready there looking for product. So in a lot of ways, if you've got a product that's in demand, this is absolutely something that you can use to scale your business very rapidly, which is how both myself and Al have managed to do it. Data lies at the heart of everything that Amazon does, and staying off of Amazon doesn't protect you from that. So a lot of people think, right, okay, if I go onto Amazon, Amazon's going to see how well I'm doing and they're going to spot my product and they're going to go and come out with a competitive one. Unfortunately, not being on Amazon doesn't help you with that, because Amazon doesn't just look at its own data. They plug into data across the web. So they're constantly monitoring all websites, all online retailers, and they're looking to see what products are selling. So if your product's selling well online, they'll know about it. It doesn't have to be on their platform. They look at data across the entire web. Amazon analyzes sales trends and uses this clickstream data that they're picking up across the web to make decisions commercially and which products they go into. Absolutely. 100%. They do that. But here's the thing. They share that data as well. They make a lot of that data available. The Amazon data, you can go in and you can actually analyze it and see. They'll tell you what their top search categories are, their top search terms, their rankings. All that information is available to you. So they'll also show who are the top sellers as well. Absolutely. They're open about it and they share that data. So in a lot of ways, you've got a fairly equal footing. You can go in and analyze that data. And in a few ways, and you say, okay, Amazon's a huge company and they've got a lot of scale and obviously they can do this better. There's two things. There's one thing, getting this data and information together. There's another thing, spending time actually analyzing it. And one thing I know about anyone that works at Amazon is that they work extremely hard, long hours, and they don't have time. They don't have a lot of time at all. So if you can take more time to analyze that data, you actually can have an advantage over the people in Amazon making these decisions. So there is definitely a competitive advantage for you there.
Alrighty, guys. So coming up to some more meat in terms of what selling on Amazon. So this is a rough process flow for getting started. And then in the next few slides, we'll start talking about your listings and how to optimize them. So first bit here is you need to get your account set up. There's two types of account. You can have a basic account or you can have a professional account. We recommend the professional account because you're going to need the tools that are available through it to basically really grow your business if you're being serious about what you're doing here. The next step, just quickly on the verification process or on the account setup, there's a two-part verification process. The first part is pretty straightforward, but the second part is a much more detailed know your customer KYC kind of structure. So they'll want to know about your company and they'll want to know who the owners are and that kind of thing. So be patient with that. If you get stuck, you can always reach out to us or sales support. There may be performance notifications where they give you a bit more information about what they actually need. So just keep an eye out for those. But if you get stuck, reach out. The next bit is listing your products. So you're going to want to get your products on there and you want to get them done in an optimal way. We'll go through that in the next slide and kind of how to make them look perfect and how to really kind of optimize them so that you can really maximize your potential on Amazon. But you're going to want to list your products. Once your products are up, and almost concurrent to that, you want to apply for Amazon brand registry. This is that little bit that we discussed earlier that allows you to protect your products and protect your brand. It also gives you access to a few more additional elements and selling tools, like you can make a what's called a web store. So you can make a website within Amazon for your products. You can get A+ pages, and you can do a few more advertising tricks that you can't do if you don't have brand registry. So even if you don't see yourself as a major brand, it's still worth getting brand registry if you can. And you're going to need to have a trademark registered. So if you don't have a trademark registered, make sure you get one registered as well. And once you do, apply for brand registry. And then you start selling. Now, the flow for these, just one quick bit, is you can start selling if you don't have brand registry. So if it's going to take you a while to get your IP, intellectual property or trademark registered, that's okay. Just start selling, and then you can come back and fix it later. So that's okay. Cool. So jumping through to listings. So on this slide, we're going to look at a listing that hasn't really been looked after, and then the next slide is one that's had a bit more love. So this is a very high level thing, and there's actually a whole lot of stuff you could fix on this listing. But the key ones that I want to bring up, because these are really, really common mistakes. Number one. So Amazon allows you to change four things, at least four key things on your product page. The first one is the product title. And you can see here, this one isn't really that well written. It says Oatly. Oatly is an amazing brand, and so they've kind of like just pummeled in two things of the brand. It doesn't really talk about what the product is, and so you want to optimize that product title so that it not only says the brand, it says what it is, but also drop in a couple keywords that will tell you what it is. So for this one, for example, they could have said dairy-free or vegan, something like that, because someone may search vegan milk. They may search, dairy-free milk. And so having these kinds of little nuggets of keywords dropped into there will be really helpful for you. The next bit in here is, and I've got it's down as number two. Make sure you make the most of the images that you can load onto Amazon. Amazon allows you to load 9 images if you're on Amazon Marketplace. If you're on retail, you can do 8 images and a video. Now, with Amazon, with your images, you want your images to really sell your product, and you want to kind of do. If you are in a supermarket, if you imagine yourself in a supermarket and you see a new product, you might pick it up, you might inspect it, try and get a sense for the product. It's the same thing with Amazon and your images. So you need to make sure that your images allow someone to really inspect the product and get a good sense of what they're getting. But on top of that, you want to have a few USPs and selling points that really convince the person, if they don't read your bullet points, which we're going to come up to in a second, but if they don't read all the copy that you've put in, they will still catch your key selling points and why they should buy your product in the images. So if you're selling food, for example, you want to have the nutrition table and the ingredients, maybe some of the USPs, because in this case, for example, it's Oatly, so you'd run it in a fun way, how it's a ethical brand, or you'd write about how it's dairy-free and how milk, whatever's appropriate for your brand. But you want to have your USPs visible there, and maybe some aspirational things, so like some recipes, or if you're selling protein powder, like some muscular people, or if you're selling jewelry, some people wearing the jewelry, just to kind of like inspire the person so they can kind of get a sense of the product and the feel for it. The next bit I've got down here is number 3, are your bullet points. So Amazon allows you to have at least 5 bullet points, and I would highly recommend making sure that those are optimized as much as possible. What you want to put into there are your USPs, and you want to think about it from the customer's perspective. So if I'm the customer, what do I want to know, and in what order do I want to know it so that I will buy this product? So you want to talk to your customer essentially. So in this case, if I'm buying this product, I'm looking for a dairy-free milk essentially. For whatever reason, I may be vegan, I may have lactose intolerance, there may be a whole lot of reasons why I may be looking for this. Or maybe I just want something that's rebellious. I've seen a really cool ad and I want to kind of respond to that. So you want to make sure that your 5 bullet points talk to those customer needs. And you can use them if you run out, if you can only think of 4. In your 5th one, talk about satisfaction or your brand, or maybe you sell more than one thing, so you can refer to the rest of your brand in the 5th bullet point. But the key thing there, and actually for the whole thing, is to make sure that you talk to the customer and think about it from their perspective. Now, I mentioned at the beginning there's 4 things you can change, and the 4th one is actually the description. This goes down further down the page, and it's not on the slide, but it'll be further down the page, usually before other products. It's kind of hidden when you view it on desktop, but when you're on your phone, it's one of the first things you see. So it's really good to make sure to have your description optimized as well, usually as a summary, a very short summary of your bullet points. So if someone reading it on their phone wouldn't have to scroll too much to understand what's going on. And here you can see a listing that's had some love. So you can see here the product title. It's quite full. There's a whole lot of stuff there. It's talking about the product. It tells you the flavor, the size, and then it's dropped in some USPs. So it's all natural. There's no artificial flavors. It's made with quality beetroot. So all the little key things that someone who may want to know this. And this is a bulk size. So drop in the word bulk or food service, because someone who is buying this may say ketchup bulk size or catering sized ketchup. And this way you kind of catch those guys in your in the search results. Looking at number 2, or their images. So here, you can't quite see it in the slide, but they've got their USPs, they've got their ingredients. Those are the first two pictures there, and they're branded up in line with the rest of the brand. And then the rest of it is their product, some recipes and things that they've made with the beetroot ketchup. Again, it's like to inspire the person, so that if you're buying this, like, cool, I could actually make this. This is what I'm looking for. I wanted to do whatever this image is showing. Perfect. This is what I need. Great. Add to basket. And then if they're really being adventurous, then the person will read through their bullet points. Here you can see there's only 4 bullet points. Ideally, you'll have 5. But you would list out all the key things that make your product special and talk to the customer so that they know what to buy. And these guys have been a bit more creative. They've added an emojis because this brand's Foraging Fox. They've got a little fox emoji in there at the front. So you can be creative and show some personality as well. A couple little things just to help you here as well, little extra nuggets. You can see here they've put their different flavors together. So you can see this is the smoked one, but there's 2 other ones. There's an original and a hot with it, and they've been grouped together so that way someone coming to this page can choose between the different brands really easy. So if you've got a really popular brand, you advertise the popular brand and send people, if you're a really popular flavor or variety, advertise that one and then people will come on, and then they can cross-sell into the others. Cool.
Sorry, I know I slid over by accident there. My finger slipped.
No worries.
Okay, so once you started selling, there are key things that you want. So you got your product listed. The next thing you want to do is build reviews. Okay, that's really important. Customers on Amazon look at reviews, and they put a lot of weight on those. So getting reviews is your first focus. Then it's about sort of like maturing and building your sales velocity, and that's increasing your sales. So the first thing you do is your reviews, then start to build your sales velocity. I'm going to talk about how you achieve that. Once you've kind of built and grown and you've invested in it, then you want to start profiting. And this is a really clear distinction between the two. At the beginning, when you're growing, you're sacrificing profit and margin really to grow sales. And then once you've gotten to the growth level that you want to be at, that your targets are set at, then you can start focusing on profiting and margin maximization. And then almost immediately having done that, you also switch over into protecting and monitoring protocols. So once you've achieved your position, you want to maintain it. And so maintenance becomes the key point. So this is kind of like the life cycle of a product from when it's launched through to actually having something that is really profitable and maintaining that position on Amazon. So we start with any listing talking about listing visibility. So the key thing to understand is Amazon are looking to maximize revenue, right? Really important to understand. They're also really focused on reputation. So there are 2 key metrics for reputation. One is the review of the product. The other is the feedback given to the seller. 2 clear metrics Amazon publishes on their site and gives you, and that you should really focus on. Final thing, the third thing is also relevance. So Amazon's constantly looking at search terms that might work for you, and they're trying to work out which is the most relevant. They judge relevance at the beginning, maybe on words and traffic, but what essentially they do it on is consumer behavior. So everyone's like, how do I get my product to number 1 on Amazon? The key is number 1 under what search terms? Which are the search terms that are most relevant to you? Because you're not going to get found under something that's not relevant. And ultimately, what Amazon's going to be looking at is they're trying to maximize revenue. Remember, they make money from commission. So the more you sell, the more they make. So they're looking at their real estate, their page, and they're going, okay, what product gives us the best return? And it's not necessarily the cheapest product. You see, if you've got a higher priced item, you may sell slightly fewer units, but you make more money for them, and so you'll appear higher. Conversion rate is crucial, obviously. Key metric that you definitely would probably be measuring on your website, should be measuring on Amazon as well. They give you your conversion rate in your business reports. And finally, something called sales velocity. So this is where essentially you're showing the growth pattern, that uptake in your sales. And Amazon monitors that really closely because they're looking to maximize revenue, right? So they're looking to maximize your revenue. If they see you stagnating, they're just going to hold your position or drop it. If they see you've got potential, they'll keep pushing you up. They'll put you into new areas because they're looking at growing their revenue. And so if you can show that you've got sales velocity behind you, then they'll take more notice more quickly of that. And this is kind of where we come down to the tools you can use to influence that. First one, most important, as we talked about before, fulfillment type. It's that delivery promise. FBA, getting it into the hands of customers same day, next day, that's your best chance of getting conversions. So fulfillment type is really important. Then brand pages, actually laying the product out, as Al's talked there about the top of the page. You can do more stuff down the page as well. A+ pages to make the content really stand out to consumers so they know what they're buying. That's really crucial for conversion as well. Targeted promotions. You can actually run targeted promotions. You don't have to like discount on page. You can run promotions, say on social or someone like that, and bring people back, and they can have a voucher code that no one else on the page sees. So that can help you to increase your sales beyond Amazon's existing ecosystem. Bring those customers in. That gives you an uptick in sales, pushes your sales velocity. Amazon starts to pay attention to that and pushes you harder. Paid search. Amazon's got a fantastic pay-per-click platform, so you can use that, as Al talked about before, to kind of jump the queue and get yourself up there. Again, it allows you to demonstrate to Amazon that your product will be a high converter, and if they see that it's converting well, they'll push you harder more quickly. And this comes to that whole growth phase I talked about, where you're going to sacrifice some of that margin really to focus on like targeted promotions and paid search to artificially stimulate your sales to get Amazon's attention. When I'm talking about Amazon's attention, I'm talking about algorithms. They use bots. These aren't people sat here watching this. These are algorithms that are looking for this, and they're computationally looking to see how much more potential your product has, and they're compared to others that would also sit on that page. So analysis is really key. Look at the page, look at your competitors, understand how they're converting. You have to outperform them. That's who you're competing with. You shouldn't just be looking at your own product in isolation. Look at it on that search results page. And crucially, I would say look at reviews. Reviews give you two key advantages. The first one is that when people read them, they're convinced, okay, fine, this is a good product, so they're more likely to convert. If they convert, they've bought it, then you're going to get this uptick from the algorithm on Amazon going, yeah, this has more sales potential, so they'll push you higher. But the algorithm also reads your reviews and sees, okay, hey, these guys are getting consistently good reviews. Reputation is really important to us, so you kind of get two boosts from reviews. Really, really important. They are absolutely critical. If you want to get reviews, generally you have to ask for them and you have to monitor them. If you get a negative review or feedback, you want to deal with that. You can do as well. People will change their minds. I've got one here. A client wrote to us, I had a problem with the product. It was not a fast charger. It took 6 hours to charge my iPad, 50%. Clearly there's a problem with it. So I did leave a previous comment. We analyze, we monitor our reviews, so we spotted that. But in light of the excellent customer service from this company, in particular Sarah, so head of our customer services team, she's great, they replaced the charger, which was faulty, with a new one that arrived today and works exactly as it's meant to. Happy to recommend this company. So we turned a 1-star into a 5-star. And look, I mean, they literally changed the review that day that they received the replacement product. Really, really important to monitor your reviews. Al, do you want to talk about these promotions?
Yes, absolutely. And guys, just wanted to shout out. I wanted to just say I've seen that there's questions in there, and we'll make sure we'll answer your questions as well. If you do have other ones that come up, feel free to just shoot them through, so that way we can kind of make sure we address them. Just quickly on lightning deals. So essentially, on deals overall and ways of marketing. So you've got your advertising ones, and there's a few kind of promotional techniques that you can have. The first one, lightning deals and deals of the day, and there's also another one called best deals. Very quickly, lightning deal is a flash sale that happens for about 4 to 6 hours. Amazon will allocate roughly when it is, and when you get a high enough rate of sale, they will make one available to you, and you can decide whether or not you want to run it or not. It's usually asking for around 10 to 15% off your cheapest price in the last 30 days. And then a best deal is a 1 week long deal that will usually want about 20% off, and it's the same as lightning deal. Amazon will make it available to you, and you'll be able to choose roughly which week it is. And the final one is a deal of the day. This is one that's like a deepest deal, and you'll be seeing a lot of those this week. Usually around 30% off is what they expect. And again, for that one, though, you need to kind of apply especially for that. And if you do really well, then they make it available to you through the deals page. The next one are promotional offers. So this is like a percentage off. The cool thing about this is, one, it doesn't affect the price of your deals, because your deals have to be based on your lowest price in a certain number of days. The promotional offer is really cool because you will be able to do X% off and it won't affect that. Second part is it'll create a little flash on the results page, so a customer is more likely to click on your page, and so you get a high click-through rate, and then hopefully if you optimize the page right, you get a nice conversion rate as well. The final little cool thing about these is people often forget to, there's a little checkbox to actually get the discount, and people often forget to tick the checkbox. And so that way you'll get a higher click-through rate, and you won't always have to pay that promotional discount price. Final one is a voucher code. It's really similar to what you expect on most websites. Customer gets a code and they apply it at checkout, and they get a percentage off or whatever you've made available to them. This is really good if you are working with influencers or off of Amazon pages, because sometimes people prefer to go to Amazon than a website. So you can make two, one available on your website and one available for customers on Amazon, and you can see which one gets the best click-through rate, and you can use that to focus your future activity.
So I'm just going to talk very quickly about the algorithm that I alluded to earlier and how to kind of take advantage of it. So key things are, this is a circle for a reason, kind of rinse and repeat. You want to promote the product and get visibility of it. You want to, and you want to share any deals and promotions that you're running on it at the time. So any offers and so forth, share those on social. Those in turn, then you also want to build reviews and build that up. That's very much about the product's reputation, and you also want to introduce paid traffic. All of these things are stimulating traffic through to the site, and kind of like the more traffic you bring in, if you imagine it's the top of the funnel, bringing that traffic in is really important. All of that should do is improve the conversions. So if you're running a promotion, you're bringing in more traffic. All of this does is it builds through to sales velocity. Sales velocity gets picked up by Amazon, and Amazon then uses that to push and will actually increase your organic position within Amazon. And it's very different to Google, where they sort of like say, advertising has no impact on your organic search. In Amazon, it absolutely can have and should have a positive impact on it. And then what's really important is to analyze. So you've done promotions, you've shared, you've built reviews, you've done your PPC traffic. And hopefully you've seen your sales velocity increasing. And what key thing is to analyze and understand where it's coming from. Do more of what's working and less of what's not. And there's a huge amount of data available on Amazon, so it's really crucial to study that.
Oh, international growth. So I'm just going to walk through the next bit pretty quickly, just so that we can get to questions. But essentially, you can use Amazon to sell internationally really fast. One of the beauties of it is that it's the same platform, it's the same logic all around the world. So once you get it and once you understand how it works, you can apply that logic everywhere. There's actually two more markets that aren't on here. They've recently opened up since we've prepared this presentation. There's one in Netherlands and there's also one in Sweden. And we think from our contacts on Amazon that Austria may be coming up soon as well. So there's also Turkey and the UAE, I should say. So there's a whole lot of international markets that you can also sell into. And you can use Amazon to grow, especially if you're in Europe. You can use the Pan-EU program that Zamir mentioned earlier to kind of, you send your stock to one warehouse and you can sell all throughout Europe post-Brexit, with the exception of the UK.
So Amazon's more than just a common platform. It's a commonality, and that allows you to really scale. And I think as a small business, it's really important. Okay, so you're able to use the same system for all of those markets that Al's just mentioned. So it's the same interface, which is great. How I would approach it: look, international seems great. Get it working domestically first. Understand how Amazon works. Get it working at home. Understand your customers. Next thing you should look at is Europe. Pan-EU offers you a unique opportunity with our very close neighbors. And then finally, remember that FBA delivers this like local service globally. So it allows you as a small business to punch way above your weight, and it's got huge potential. So starting this journey, you kind of like an eye on the end, but obviously small steps to get there. Make sure that you get those right first and then build up to it.
Cool. So steps to take now, guys. Number one, apply for an account on Amazon. Step 2, try and register your brand if you have one, and apply for brand registry. And then step 3, prepare the labeling and other bits for selling on Amazon. You're going to need a barcode. If you don't have one, apply for a set of barcodes on the website called GS1. They're a global website for international for barcodes, and you're going to need that if you're going to sell on Amazon. So if it's a brand new product and it doesn't exist on Amazon already, you're going to need a barcode. And then you're pretty much there to start selling. You can list your products once you have your barcode, and you can kind of get going with the steps we mentioned earlier.
So we're going to ask questions on that now. I just want to say, look, I've only put my name on there. Sorry, I should be half on that one somehow. Me and Al are both on LinkedIn. We do a lot of talks like this. We do work with some brands. We started that last year. We started working with 2 brands last year, Cheesies and a jewelry company. Both. One was already on Amazon, had been on Amazon for about 3 or 4 years. They were doing about $300,000 a year. And Jesus were doing about $2,000 a month. They just launched in the UK, and both this year and now we've grown those brands to over £1 million turnover on Amazon specifically, just alone. And we are working with more brands now besides our own. So we haven't just done it with our own companies. We are doing it with other brands, but at the same time, we've obviously got a team that we work with and we can scale, but we put out a lot of really good content, and we can't answer necessarily all questions massively timely, but I would recommend, follow us on LinkedIn. We've got a brand called This Way Up. We're on Instagram and on LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We put out a lot of really cool content that's free for people to get hold of. So I definitely recommend following us on LinkedIn, This Way Up, online on LinkedIn and on Instagram.
Just on your questions, guys, I want to make sure I can address all of them. So, firstly, I think Gabrielle, I've sent her a reply in the chat, but just so you know, Gabrielle's asking. She's got access to some famous brands, some designer brands, and she's trying to sell them on Amazon, but she hasn't been able to, even though she's doing well on eBay. It may be, Gabrielle, that Amazon have a brand registry protection there, and the brands may have limited who can sell their products on their platform. But it's hard to know for sure with that information. But that would be my first suspicion. You can always reach out to us on LinkedIn if you want to, and we can try and investigate it more. So Tony's asked 2 interesting questions. So the first one he's asked is, if a customer complains about a product and about the product condition, and it's hard to tell whether or not it's because of a product defect or because of warehouse mishandling, how do they resolve that dispute? Most likely, this is a bit of a challenge. There's probably 2 parts to it. The first part is they will look after the customer anyway, so most likely the customer will get a refund. Now the question will be, who's going to have to pay for that refund, you or the brand, you or Amazon? It may be a bit of a battle. You might need to kind of have to ask for proof that it was warehouse, that it was the product, and you can ask for photos. They will send you photos of the product if you ask for it, so that can be one way. Generally, if it happens on a single one, generally, I kind of don't worry about the singles. If it happens on a large scale, on a large number, then yeah, definitely I would challenge Amazon because margins build up. And then Tony's also asked another question, which is I think is a really good one, and it's a common question as well. So he's asking whether he's got products that come in a box of 20, and he wants to send a box of 20 into Amazon, but have Amazon pick single ones for sales to customers. And he's asking whether or not Amazon can do that. And the answer is yes. Amazon will, if you can send things in a full case, and Amazon will dispatch individual units. What they won't do, though, is get one thing from one box and one thing from another box, put them together, and send them off, unless they were sold as 2 different things and the customers bought both. So you can't ask them to, for example, if you can't sell this, like a headphones and a watch, and then send it into Amazon in 2 separate boxes. Amazon will only pick and pack what is already pre-assembled. So you need to make sure if you're not doing what Tony's doing and selling it as individual units, it needs to go into Amazon in the form that Amazon would pick and send out to the customer, and the customer would receive it. I hope that didn't sound too confusing. I kind of like to make sure I kind of address that. But if you have more questions, there's still more time. I think there's a fourth one. I will make sure I've got it. Unnecessary returns. So Tony's asking if anything can be done to reduce unnecessary returns, such as customer constantly changing their mind in order ordering multiple colors and then returning them, or keeping one or the customer at fault returns. So I think, to be honest, not really. There's not much you can do in that situation.
I would say one of the things you could possibly, I mean, it depends, because if it's fashion related, it might be slightly different, but the quality of your listing probably goes to, so if a customer can tell more of the information as to what they expect on the listing, it'll probably reduce your return. So your description and your photos more than anything are your best sort of like defense on that. And I mean, there will be an amount of return that you get, but I mean, our returns rate probably sits around about 1.2%. So it's not huge. I know it's different in different categories. Fashion is significantly higher. So it does depend if someone's wearing something, I suppose. But I would definitely, the one defense you got is the listing quality, I would say.
I think if you find people are abusing stuff or taking advantage of things, you can complain to Amazon about that customer as well. But they really have to be really kind of taking the piss. So we've had people who have ordered and then said they want a refund and kept the product and then done it on several occasions. And so you can just flag that to Amazon. These guys are clearly abusing the system. But generally, Amazon will protect the customer because that's...
I was going to say, they do protect the customer, but Amazon do monitor for people that do that repeatedly and then flag their accounts, and they will get rid of them. But they have to have done it a number of times, and Amazon has to be sure it is actually the customer that's doing it. I have to say, those are few and far between. Though.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. In 6 years, I've only had one person do that. If that makes sense. Be that bad. Cool, guys. I think that's all the questions and the questions in the chat. I've tried to cover them both off. But if you have any, if you want to reach out, we're available. So our website is thiswayup.online, or it's the same. That's also our Instagram handle, thiswayup.online, and you can also find us on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. That was really insightful. And I think, you touched on quite a lot of the technical things about Amazon that people don't really know or understand. And I think one thing that I sort of took away from this session was it's not as hard as it looks. There's a lot of things that you look at and, like you said, the VAT registration in the EU, it looks really it sounds really complicated, but actually the way you guys explained it and the support Amazon gives people, it's actually, anyone can do it if they put the mind to it. So really appreciate your time, guys. I'm conscious you've got an 11 o'clock. I don't want to hold you any longer. Ali, if you could share your website in the chat box so people can see it and click on it. And Zamir, thank you so much. Ali, so, really appreciate it. And hopefully we can get you guys on again and do a really good session.
Cool. We're happy to. Thanks for having us. We appreciate all of your time.
Brilliant. Thank you. And guys, don't forget, those of you who are watching, we've got so much more content coming up this week. We've got a session at 12 o'clock on how to market online. We've got Lucy Hall, the founder of Social Day, which is a 3-day social media exhibition, which is all about learning how to use social media to grow your business. So please tune in for that and see you then. Thank you.